Alright, Galadriel. Listen, I've written a song about you. I thought I might sing it for you. Well, it wouldn't be Lord of the Rings if we didn't have a melancholic, echoey singing bit. Go on then. I once met an elf who killed an ice troll in under 10 seconds on her own. She flipped upside down on the back of a horse to avoid the arrow that had flown. She looked rather young compared with her kin, despite being 5,000 years old. I once met an elf who killed an ice troll. Oh, what a sight to behold. Yeah, not bad. I mean, you're not going to win Numenor's Got Talent, but I did like the bit about the ice troll. Very accurate. Right. What I mean to say is, thank you.
Now, the Rings of Power has been subject to a lot of ridicule from Tolkien fans and fans of high fantasy and fans of high quality television programming. But that really hasn't stopped the masses from consuming, giving the show a chance. Now, I suspect, and hey, I might be wrong, we saw the early Nielsen data on viewership, and the Rings of Power was very high, 1.2 billion minutes viewed or something like that. Very, very high, and that's just in the United States. However, that was just for the very first 2 episodes, which only really just confirmed what we knew about the show already. Amazon had already told us that they had 25 million worldwide viewers, and I don't think that there's anything that we saw ahead of time that stopped people from wanting to give it a chance. They definitely wanted to give the Rings of Power a chance. So what I'm really more interested in is the viewership on like episodes 4 and 5. I want to see how that number's changed. Did it grow since all these people talking about amazing things about the show, or did it completely fall off? That we'll have to wait probably till later this week to find out. But this one scene, perhaps a 6-second scene, completely encapsulates basically everything wrong with Rings of Power. And it was getting endlessly memed on the internet over the weekend. And I'm going to get into that after a super quick word from important channel sponsor, Meta PCs. Huge shout out to this video sponsor, Meta PCs. Look, you've been around, you know that I've been talking about Meta PCs for a very long time. In fact, it's the primary computer I use. But it's not just because they're a sponsor. It's for so many more reasons. They have fully customizable, configurable PCs and all the hardest to find parts in stock and ready to go. They also have ready to ship PCs ready for you today. Here's a couple reasons why I like Meta PCs. First and foremost, it's veteran ownership. Meta PCs is a veteran-owned business. One of Meta's owners has served both in Afghanistan and Iraq and received a Purple Heart for his service. Meta also employs military veterans in Meta's operations center and also provides systems to veterans going back to school to help them re-enter the workforce all across the United States. They offer financing. It has 100% US-based sales and support. And when you receive your PC, it's ready to go right out of the box. You don't have to get complicated and set things up. You just plug it all in and you're ready to rock. And on top of that, Meta PCs is offering you, my viewer, a huge discount when you use the link in the description or you use promo code TheQuartering. If you use my code at checkout, not only do you save money, but you support my content and a company that will not bow to cancel culture. So maybe you're not ready to pick up a new computer today, but when you are, remember to go to metapcs.com and use promo code TheQuartering to support me and to save money. And everybody wins. Obviously, I know you might not be like looking to buy a computer right this very second, but when you are, remember promo code TheQuartering. It's the tower I use, it's the laptop I use, it's what I recommend to friends and family, and I view you as both. Now, there is a 6-second scene that perhaps, I guess, perfectly encapsulated just how dumb some of the decisions that the Rings of Power is making, including this 6 seconds with Galadriel. Now, I want to play it for you. We don't really need the sound because, you know, whatever. You see Galadriel on her horse, barely able to hold the sword, galloping towards an orc. Okay, then you see this orc, which is, let's just play it. So just the first 2 seconds, okay. He draws his bow back, and then he leans into the shot. Like, most people pull a bow back and just let it go. They don't then lean into it forward. That looked weird. Maybe there's actually some physics thing, like you get it moving and so the arrow goes a little bit faster. Maybe that's actually something. It looked a little weird to me, but from an archery perspective, maybe there's actually some reason for that. Okay. Now, then you have, I'm gonna give it the sound because the sound is just too much. Let me just play it through uninterrupted. 4 seconds of cringe. Prepare yourself. Okay. First of all, let's break it down. Why was she hanging upside down on her horse for like 40 steps? It just looks ridiculous. Okay. First of all, you're way more vulnerable in that position. Second of all, I guess maybe not. But like, then what gets really hilarious to me, okay, is it's just like she's hanging it out forever. They should have cut the scene or closed the distance so it didn't look so ridiculous, okay? We're going to get to the main defense of this, of course, is Legolas. And nobody criticized when Legolas did in crazy acrobatic things. But in fact, they did. There's a whole video on Channel Awesome that was memeing on how, why didn't you just deploy Legolas by himself against the armies? Because he could just, he was so OP. So the idea that when Legolas did crazy stuff, it wasn't criticized is just patently false, and I'll show that. But here's my favorite part, the last 2 seconds of this clip, where she is clearly can generate no power in the blade, right? There's just no way from hanging upside down you're going to generate much power. But what happens is okay, so now the sword is all the way forward, okay? All the way forward. So all she has is this forearm. Just a little, not this, you creepers. Just a little forearm flick is all she can, that's maximum, okay, maximum power she can generate, right? And the orc literally explodes. I don't understand. Watch it in full speed. What? She just like pink, and the entire elf or the orc just explodes. I ask, how does this happen? Some people say, well, 10 plus sword sharpness. He cringed, so he detonated. The sword never even touched him. If this were intended to be parody, this season would have been passable. As it stands, it's not the case. I mean, maybe it's an allergy. Her sword is made of mithril, which orcs are very allergic to. Everyone knows that. Orcbane sword, terrible writing. Orcbane sword of terrible writing. Clearly a critical hit. One-handed. I mean, like, exploding sword / upgrade. Like, I don't understand what's happening. Look at it. Why? I probably echoed there. There's some weird thing going on. But I can't with this scene. Okay, it completely encapsulates just how cringe the show is. But it would seem like in the last 7 days, Amazon has deployed the bots. When I talk about the bots, I don't know how to describe it to you unless you spend a lot of time on Twitter, but you just know it when you see them, right? They have the Galadriel icon, and they talk about like how amazing and stunning and brave are. They talk about shipping. They talk about, characters hooking up and this and that. That's their primary obsession. And you see the quote tweets, what the lull, perhaps a visual aid. You'd think Tolkien fans would get used to elves being portrayed as being OP by now. I mean, that is true. Legolas is pretty much OP. there are 15 million people in the comments and quote tweets, and given no context, you'd assume that Morford Clark has done something very bad to them. It's just so lame. A loot pinata. I mean, like, absolutely ridiculous. Oh, it was awesome, you chode. Oh, yeah, okay. Let's see, do we have... Oh, shocking that you have pronouns in your bio. This is what I'm saying, like, you know the accounts. How did I know? I just knew from the reply. Like, you just know that these are, like... Am I sort of country bumpkin? I mean, like, bruh. Power of the... Trying to out-cringe She-Hulk. Major of the Last Jedi vibes there. Like, most people dunking on it. But then there was, like, this counterattack. Again, this is, like, the weird shill accounts. I don't know who this is. But, you know, going viral all the time. When Legolas does it, it's cool. And when Galadriel does some stunts, it's showboating. I mean... Yeah. I mean, yeah. He doesn't look cringe when he does it. She just does. I don't know what to tell you. It's just, I mean, and by the way, it did, you know, I hate this showboating. B, stop about the what about Legolas. Stop. The difference is that Legolas is actually a likable person doing impossible feats. Some of those feats needed others, like defeating the troll or the multiple times he fought side by side with the Fellowship. He needed a team. Galadriel in this show has been the complete opposite of that. She has been insufferable a-hole who needs no one to cut down an ice troll as her team gets tossed around. She believes she could swim back to Middle-earth, and survived a pyroclastic flow head-on. Her feats supersede this. The point is, even as impossible Legolas gets even in the Hobbit movies, which sucks, Galadriel is doing things that should straight up break the story, or at least very least maim her horribly. She's so much better that I doubt she needed an army in the first place. I mean, the thing is, like, you see a lot of people in the quote tweets on this getting these, like, you know, like, oh, I'm no interest in Lord of the Rings, but now I'm gonna watch it to own the chuds. Legolas surfed on Oliphant's trunk so Gimli could make a joke. I mean, yeah, but you get that they were comedic relief. That Legolas was OP, by the way. You remember this, like, from Channel Awesome?
Legolas's perfect moments. If one character can be too flawed, then another can be too perfect. Again, Legolas started out as a very precise, somewhat advanced hero in the first movie. But as the films went on, you started to wonder why he couldn't just fight this war himself. Look at this son of a bitch! While everyone's doing their best to fight off soldiers on ground... Yeah, Aragorn's like, hey Legolas, would you mind bringing down a 5-story elephant? Come on, you can do that in your pointy-eared sleep. But the bizarre thing is, he can! Without even batting an eye!
It's and that video in and of itself, by the way, was from Channel Awesome during their era of, well, pre-everything. So it was criticized. So the whole, like, nobody criticized Legolas for doing it, that's actually 100% incorrect. Lots of people did, and it was well memed on that he was just a little too OP, never really in danger. But the Legolas insanity was also a part of the comedic relief. Something that, you know, Lord of the Rings Cheeto Mountain doesn't really understand. I mean, you have this article, Amazon analyst said he fell asleep watching the company's Lord of the Rings of Power TV show, making him even more worried that the $1 billion show may be a bust. He admitted that he fell asleep during it. Rings of Power is overusing fast travel worse than Game of Thrones. It's going to be interesting to see once we get the next round of ratings, because I would be shocked if there wasn't a significant downturn, but we'll find out later this week. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you leave a like on it. Make sure you write down that promo code for Meta PCs, the quartering. Save when you're ready to get a computer. We'll talk to you again real soon.